This is a MudUK panel. It's very nice, but I need to do an upgrade on it. I don't want this CD player here. I'm going to put a double DIN head unit in there and move these gauges up to here, because that doesn't work. I wonder how I'm going to do that. We've all done it, haven't we? We sort of think we can make our Land Rovers better by putting more and more accessories in. Well, I started this panel, must be 7 or 8 years ago, even more. And that's just a basic push on off switch, because I used to have some air horns, you know how you do. Well, they fell off a long time ago. This is for my roof lights, and this is for my passenger side electric window on the door, because that's really handy if you want to shout at cyclists. 12 volt, so I can put a USB in there. Turbo gauge, which is nice. I'm going to keep that. Clock, I don't need that because I'm going to put a double DIN in there. This unit here, it does not work. It does not move off 3, and I don't know why. So I've ordered another one, because this is exhaust gas temperature. This thing here was an outside temperature reader to see how cold it was. Well, that was pointless. It just stick your head out at window, you know. That's going to go. So I'm going to put those gauges up there and get rid of this. And I've bought myself a new 7-inch double DIN head unit. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I got one the other day, and I thought, well, we'll get set up and we'll get this in. However, a Toto, that's it. It was an Toto unit, because it had better memory in, better processor, and it was a lot more money than the other one. I think it was about $170 or something like that, maybe a bit more. I can't remember, because it's going to take a week to get here. So I thought I'll get a heads up on this one. But because it's got better memory in, it's okay. But the one I got before, the other Toto 7-inch, it had basically the same things in it, but I found out it didn't have inbuilt GPS. Now, inbuilt GPS is kind of nice to have, not because I want maps or anything like that. It's just for your speed and things like this, and I kind of like that. But it did have GPS in it. However, it was based on your phone. Now, as many of you know, I don't always carry my phone around with me, so that's pretty damn useless. So I thought with this new unit it might be a little bit better. Plus it'll free off a lot of things, and it'll bring a bit more life to the vehicle. And also I can get rid of a whole load of wiring under that dash that's crept in over the years. You know, I'll just put this in, put that in. Try and smarten it up, and also change the fuse box, which I'll show you in a minute or two. But what we're going to do with this one is we're going to strip it down, get rid of everything. And how are we going to fix this, Mike? How are you going to put a 7-inch unit in there? You're going to have gaps everywhere. Well, this is made from ABS. This is made from ABS. You can get these sheets off Amazon, my favourite shop, like Paul Weller. $17 for 2 sheets. So what we can do is we can cut a piece and set it inside. It's a slightly different texture, but who cares? And if we look at it like this, it's not that far off the same width. So with one sheet, we should be able to cover that. And if we make a mess of it, well, it's not too bad, is it? The nice thing is, because it's ABS, we can use ABS cement, glue in other words, to bond it onto there and cut new pieces out. So today what we can do, we can practice what we preach and put a piece in here, and then put a whole provision for 3 gauges to go in the top. The rest we're going to keep it as it is. Alright, so let's strip this down and see what we're up to. So I marked out the back of the sheet. It's kind of easy because they're good dimensions to work out. It's 13 centimeters by 19, and that would be 19 by 6. Now I've marked this just a little bit bigger because I'm going to cut this out just with the slitting saw and the grinder, because I haven't got a saw bench. And then we're going to sand them down to fit with a body shaping body block. Okay, so we know it's all nice and flat. The idea about this is just to do a little bit at a time, but in case we make a complete Horlicks of it, we've got another piece. Yes, I was actually going to do it in stainless steel. I thought that would be nice, but I thought this is easier to work with because it'll just bond in, and it's got a sort of a finish on it which will look kind of sexy. So let's get that cut out. So after a bit of sanding and things like this, we can find that this sits nice in here, so does this one. Now there will be a little bit of a gap round here. We're not worried about that, because what we'll do is we'll put some caulking round there and clean it all up. I know it is a different shade, but that's not the end of the world, because what we can do is give it a quick vinyl paint. I did degrease it, which hasn't done the plastic any good, but what we're going to do now is make sure all this, the rear piece here, is sanded off nice. And don't forget, if you're going to do this, round this off, these ends, and also round the corners off, so it fits snug right in the bottom of there. So next we're going to have to glue it. Well, as usual, I made a complete Horlicks of that one. On this one here, on the first one, Mark 1, I drilled the plate out before gluing it, just as well, because I made a Horlicks of it. You can see I've got the gap here wider than here, and I can't correct it because there isn't that much wriggle room on these things, so I'm going to do it again. But also I've noticed that it could have come up a bit higher, and the reason for that was I couldn't quite see my marks. When you do it with pencil on the back of here, it couldn't come out right, so I put a bit of tape on, marked out the holes. I've double checked them this way, this way, this way, this way, and they seem to be okay. So now, with a bit of luck, I'm going to screw them to a piece of wood. Am I? Yeah, go on, I'll do it. No, yes, I'll do it this side. We're going to try and cut them out. Now, the cutter that I've got, this old medieval thing here, is just a bit shorter. I think it's 2 inch, and I think they're what, a 2 1/16 or 2 1/8. Those gauges, they're not quite 2 inches, are they? They're a little bit bigger. So, because you've got to mark them out, grind them out a little bit with a die grinder. So that means you've got a little bit of space to work with. I'm trying to get this bloody old piece out of here, but it's what we used before, you see, so it should work. Well, let's give it a go. Nothing to lose. Got plenty of material left. Now you can see I've done a pilot hole in there, because if you just rely on the drill point here, you can't really see it. So if it's got a pilot hole, you can just tip it over and it'll follow the hole. It looks alright. Looks alright to me. I think it's more like melted its way through than cut. There we go. That's not too bad. Now, we're going to be very close to this side here, so what we want is these discs here. We're going to take this screw out of here, then screw this here to clamp this down so that we can drill it. I'll get on with that. Well, there's our holes drilled. I guess they're somewhat better than before. It'd be nice if I had one of them bloody old CNC machines or something like that. We wouldn't make a mistake, but no, we haven't got one. Ah, that looks a bit better, doesn't it? The thing is, we can now take off that spur with your, well, spur, is it called a spur? I don't know. That shaving bit. and then we can die grind that out a bit. Now, see, this is the problem with this machine here. Well, that cutter, should I say, that machine. It doesn't quite go for the gauges, it's just that little bit tight, if you see what I mean. Yeah, you see. I should really measure it, shouldn't I? What size these are. I'm sure they're 2 1/8. Just wait a minute, just let a rough guess on this one. 2 1/16. So, which is a good one? Well, that's a bad one. So all I'm going to do is just run it round with the die grinder, round and round. There you go. Look at that. Doesn't that look neat? Now it's correct, so I'll get on with all the rest. Right, so there we are. That's a lot better, isn't it? Have I got these the right way up? No, that one's the wrong way around, isn't it? Here we go. Now, you're going to be asking yourself, and probably some of you have worked out, why I did it in this panel first before gluing it into here. Well, the reason is, if I made a mess of it, like I have done on the first one here, then I can do another one without gluing it on. So now I can take those gauges out of there. Now I know they fit. Oh, see how tight they are. Put this onto, glue this onto here, like that. Only glue in the bits that we need. And remember, this is going to hold on quite tight because the clamps that go through here will hold the gauges in, so that's good. And then I can sort of mark them out a little bit rough, find out the centres, and with a smaller cutter, with something like this, I can open the hole out and then die grind it to match, if you see what I mean. So what I can do is just cut this bit out and then die grind this out to match this hole. I know it's a bit primitive, but it's the only thing I can do. So that's good. That's one part. Now, get rid of that. It's nicer than working with metal because you don't get all stringy, do you? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same approach to this piece here before gluing it in. Cut it out for the radio so it's a snug fit before I start cutting this panel out. You'll see. But I can't do that until Friday because the unit doesn't come Friday. But at least I can get a head start and put the gauges in. So I'm going to go down to my local hardware shop down the road and get some ABS cement, and we should be able to get on with that. So I haven't put this front panel in yet. I'm going to wait until I get my piece, but that's the gauges in and they look quite nice. Now, I'm not a great lover of gauges, but seeing I had them, I thought I'd put them in. And like I said, did away with the clock because if I've got the double DIN unit, it's got a clock in it anyway. So I can put that on my shop or something like that. That's a genuine Land Rover clock. Yeah, it's going to come out nice, and it did glue well, and I just went round it with a bit of Sikaflex to fill the gap in, and it looks really good. So we can keep this. Now, it was really nice to know that this this sheet of ABS was pretty cheap and easily to work, and easy to glue. There's a little sample that I did. I glued 2 pieces together, 2 scrap pieces, and ooh, I wish I had my porridge. But that's really hard to get apart, and you need smell to get well. You need the yellow glue for that stuff, and it don't come out. Oh, lovely smell. I wish all cars smelled like that. Now, this has led me on to thinking about something else, because, as you know, these mud panels go in your dash, and they are kind of nice and they're versatile because you can do all sorts with them, and you can correct the faults if you get one. There you go, see. Now, they are quite versatile, but they're made for left and right hand drive cars, and I was thinking about this when I was looking at this problem. Now, obviously I'm in a left hand drive car, and when I'm driving, you're sort of peering over your side like that, looking at it. Well, like that. You know what I mean? See what I mean? And I thought to myself, what if I pulled it and tipped it out a little bit? So it's at around about 30 degrees. Watch me gauges fall out. So, in other words, instead of being flat like this, pull it out using this. What if, and it's not much, you don't have to move it all that much, just a little bit. So if I was to cut down here, down there, and glue that on the inside, it looked nice, and then with a hot bar or a hot knife, put it down there and put a little bend in it so it picks up off the original places. I don't know. I'll wait until this is all done, but I thought that'd be nice just to tilt it a little bit. It makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, things we do here. So that's that. We'll wrap that one up, and I think it's going to look nice. And I've got a lot of rewiring to do, I must admit, because I'm just like you. Over the years, you think, well, I'll just put this in, I'll put that in, I'll try this, try that, and I've left all the old wires in. So, like I say, Friday and the weekend's going to be kind of busy when all the bits and bobs come in. But I'm pleased about that. And like I say, don't be afraid if it goes a bit, you know, pear-shaped. I mean, like I say, I could have done better than that, but they fit. But it was only cheap, wasn't it? We'll sell it, just put it on eBay. Somebody will buy it. Right, I'm off. See ya. Ta-da.